Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to GSTZen's webinar. We'll be starting in a few minutes. Jagdish sir, I think you can start, sir.
Vashishta, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, can we start now?
Yes, sir, sure. You can start.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Yeah, is my screen visible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Just a second. Yes, good afternoon all. Today we are going to discuss about the invoice management system and how IMS can be complied using the GSTZen software. So in today's session, first we'll discuss about what IMS is and its workflow and how it looks like in the GST portal. And thereafter, I will take you through how IMS looks in GST portal, as well as at the end, Manisha will uh, take you through the GSTZen portal and how you can use GSTZen in streamlining this IMS compliance. And then we'll take up some FAQs, and then uh, if you have any questions, you can put your questions in the chat box. I will take up the questions here. So, what is the IMS? Before going into learn more about the IMS, first we'll understand the background why the IMS has introduced. So, at the time of implementation of GST, there is an initial concept of invoice level matching. For that, GSTR2 and GSTR3 is there. Those are the two returns for the invoice level matching, but somehow those two returns have not implemented till date, and even there is no thought of implementing it now because the government felt that the current return filing system, that GSTR1 3B, is working fine, working properly. So they thought of there is no need of introducing these GSTR2 and 3. And whereas for viewing of invoices, GSTR 2A is there, but somehow government felt that still there is a gap. There is no control of invoices on which the taxpayer is availing ITC. So that's the reason government GST has introduced this IMS, invoice management system. This is for the tracking of invoices on which the taxpayer is availing the ITC. This is the little background about the IMS. So now, uh, yes. So what IMS is? IMS is a tool introduced by the GSTN to help taxpayers manage the invoices on the GST portal. That it means that taxpayer now will have a track of all the invoices on which he is availing the ITC. Till date, even the taxpayer don't have any control, nor the GST don't have, nor the government don't have any track of invoices on which the taxpayer is availing the ITC. But with the introduction of this IMS, now even government will know on what invoices the taxpayer has availed ITC. How and all that we'll see in the later slides. And also it increases the transparency, and also it avoids mistakes and ensure the correct claim of ITC. So this is a little background about the IMS. And before going further how IMS works, we'll see how the current return filing system works. As and when my supplier files a GSTR1, so from GSTR1, all invoices, all records will flow to my GSTR2B. So only if my supplier has filed a GST return on or before the due date. So normal due date for filing GSTR1 is 11 of the subsequent month. So if my supplier files his GSTR1 on time, it flows all those records to my 2B, and all the invoices what my supplier reported, I can see in my 2B on 14th. So from 2B, it will go to my 3B. This is how the current return filing system works. Now, what GST has introduced between your GST at 2B and 3B, now they have inserted one new concept called the IMS, Invoice Management System. So now we'll see what this IMS will do and how this IMS helps the taxpayer in ensuring that wrong ITSM cannot be claimed. We'll see, first we'll see the how IMS Invoice Management System will work. If you see here, this is the supply part and this is recipient part. Here I have bifurcated into the two parts, supplier view and the recipient view. So as and when my supplier saves his record in his GSTR1, or either by manual saving, or if he did e-invoicing, in case of e-invoice, it will travel to my IRP portal, and from there it will come to the supplier GSTR1. It will take 2 days to reflect it in his GSTR1. So as and when record gets saved in GSTR1 of my supplier, on real-time basis, it will reflect in the IMS dashboard of the recipient. So let's say my supplier has different supplier. Let's n number of suppliers has filed their saved their records in the GSTR1. All the invoices will get reflect in the IMS dashboard of the recipient. So in IMS, recipient will have 4 options. Either he can reject it, accept it, or if he want, he cannot. He can don't act on that invoice. That means no action, or he can mark it as a pending. We'll see how the each option will behave. If the recipient reject any of the record, then it will not travel to the 2B. It will move out of my IMS, that is recipient IMS, and it will not also travel to the 2B. Earlier, what there is no concept before the introduction of this IMS. Whatever the invoices filed by supplier and GST, all will travel to the 2B. But now, with the introduction of IMS, if the recipient reject any invoice in the IMS, it will not reflect in GST 2B of the recipient. So, and coming to the next option, accept is how the invoices are populating in 2B. The same way it will be reflected in the 2B. And if you see here, no action option is also a deemed acceptance. If you have not taken any action on the invoice, it is deemed to be accepted. So if you accept it, or if you have not taken any action, it is deemed to be accepted. It will travel to the GST 2B. If you are not sure about the particular invoice, so you have marked it as an pending. Let's say some invoice number X, you have marked it as a pending. It will be in the IMS. It will not travel to your 2B. It will stay in your IMS only, as long as you take action on that pending invoice. And that means either you have to reject it, accept it. Till then, it will be in IMS only.
Sir,
Jagdish sir.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you please share your screen again?
Yeah. So from beginning onwards, is my screen visible or no?
Sir, it got stuck on the first slide only.
Oh, okay. Is it now visible?
Yeah, it's
The
visible.
IMS workflow slide.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, then
Sir,
I
can
will.
you make it full size, full screen?
I made it full screen only. Still, it is showing as an. Just a second. I will share my the whole screen again. So is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now I will explain this slide once again. This is how IMS workflow is it. So as and when my supplier saves his record in the GSTR1, either manual save or if it is got saved through invoice portal. So as and when it saves in my supplier GST portal, it will be reflected in the recipient IMS dashboard. So in the IMS dashboard, recipient have four options. Either he can reject it, accept it, or he if he wants to mark it as an pending, he can mark it as pending. Or if he don't want to take any action, he can leave it like that. So in case of no action, it is deemed to be accepted. So let's say if we have not taken any action this one, so it is deemed to be accept. It is deemed that you have accepted all the invoices. Okay, so now we'll see the each option where how the IMS behaves. So if you reject it, if you reject any of the invoices, what it is reflected in your IMS, it will not travel to your 2B. It will be rejected. And also it also moves out of the IMS. And when you accept it, is the how invoices are traveling now from 2B to 3B, the same way it will be travel. If we have not taken any action, as earlier said, that even no action is also an deemed acceptance. Even that case also, it will be traveled to the GSTR 2B. If you mark any invoice as pending, it will be in my IMS dashboard only. As long as you take an action of accept or rejected, till date that invoice will lie in my IMS portal only. Coming to the rejection action, in case of credit note, it will be rejected. If I reject any credit note, and that like what I'm supposed to do if I accept it, obviously my credit will get reduced. Okay, if I reject it, I'm not reducing my, what it means, I'm not reducing my ITC. So whatever the ITC I'm not reversing, that will be get added to my supplier liability. If you see here, credit note rejected will become liability of the next one to the supplier. So what supplier is doing? Supplier is issuing credit note, reducing his liability. What I am supposed to do here as a recipient, I have to accept it and reduce my ITC. But here I am rejecting it. So there is a loss to the revenue, right? So that's the reason what IMS is doing there. Here the recipient has rejected and not reduced the ITC. That's the reason the ITC, that liability is getting added to the supplier liability in the next month return. So that control is there in the IMS. So what are all the invoices flows to the IMS? Whether all the invoices will flow to the IMS, whatever the invoices issued by the supplier, the answer is no. In case of RCM invoices, if my supplier has raised any invoice by marking as RCM as an S, in that case, those invoices will not come to the IMS dashboard. They will directly travel to the GSTR 2B. Here, I no need to take any action on RCM invoices. Similarly, in case of ineligible ITC, due to place of supply reason. What it means, place of supply reason? If I am having a registration in Karnataka, so I supposed to receive invoices having place of supply only Karnataka. So let's say I have traveled to Telangana and I stayed there in a hotel. The place of supply for hotel accommodation is where the immovable property located. So obviously what the hotelier will give the invoice, he will give the invoice with the place of supply having Telangana, but my registration is in Karnataka. In that case, I cannot take the ITC. So all those ITC which is ineligible due to place of supply difference in the those invoices will not travel to the IMS. Even in the GST or 2B, it will go and sit in ineligible bucket. And after the based on your action in the IMS, your draft GST 2B will be generated on 14. How the current 2B is generating. So if you see here, there is a button called recompute 2B. So what is this recompute 2B? If I take any action after 14, that means today I am in 12. If I take any action on the 15th, in my IMS dashboard, to get reflect those changes in my 2B, I need to click the button recompute 2B. I need to click the button recompute 2B. So whatever the actions you have taken on IMS will get refreshed, and new GST 2B will be generated. So based on this 2B only, your three auto-populated figures in 3B, that is invoice supplies, will be generated. This is how the invoice management system works. So invoice level matching means it is both for the supplier and the recipient. So if you see here, invoice management system dashboard will have two dashboards. One is for the inward supplies and other is for the outward supplies. Inward supplies, already we have discussed that recipient we have multiple options to take to act upon the invoices issued by his supplier. Whereas in the outward supplies, as of now, this is not functional. Only the inward supplies module is functional now. In the outward supplies, whatever the actions taken by his recipient, supplier can view. So if any of the invoices rejected by his recipient, all the invoices, he can see it in the outward supply dashboard. So we'll see the IMS workflow. As we discussed in the previous slide, that IMS we have in both outward view and the inward view. In the outward view, what are all the invoices rejected by the customers that supplier can view? Whereas in the inward view, the recipient having multiple action that either he can accept it, reject it, or he can, if he wants, he can mark it as a pending. If he is not sure that this invoice not belongs to him, in that case he can mark it as a pending. He can also, if he want, he can take no action also. So this is how it will behave on all the things we already discussed in the previous slide. So what are all the transactions not available? In case of ISD, if my supplier is transferring any ITC through GSTZen, that is ISD, in that case, all those invoices will not pass through this IMS and RCM. This already we discussed. Ineligible also will directly go to my GST 2B and will sit in ineligible bucket, and ineligible due to section 16 subsection 4. As per section 16 subsection 4, time limit to avail ITC 30th November of the subsequent period. If any of my supplier has issued invoice beyond this date, let's say if any of my supplier has issued 31st March 2024 invoice in today's date, that is February 2025, in that case I cannot take ITC in terms of section 16 subsection 4, because 30th November 2024 got already over. I cannot take the ITC in terms of section 16 subsection 4. In that case also, all the invoices will go directly to my 2B and will go and sit in the ineligible bucket. So what happens to your input tax credit based on your actions in the IMS? If you accept it, it will be part of my GST 2B in the available section. Automatically from 2B, it will be auto-populated in my 3B. What if I reject it? If I reject it, it will be part of my 2B rejected section. So it will go to the 2B, but it will go and sit in the rejected bucket. So obviously, it will not be auto-populated on my GST 3B. If I mark any of the invoices as pending, one thing, it will be in my IMS only, but it will not be part of 2B. So in the future periods, I can take action on that invoice. So if I don't want to take any action, it is deemed to be accepted. Obviously, it will travel to my 2B, and from 2B to it will travel. It will be auto populated in my GST 3B. This is how the flow of credit using IMS. So this is how the interface. How it look. IMS dashboard looks in the GST portal. If you see here, the B2B invoices, you have not taken any action on 6 invoices, and you have accepted 4 invoices, and you have rejected 5 and marked 3 invoices as in pending. So if you further click down, you can drill down here by clicking on the numbers. You can see on what are all the invoices you have taken action. So similarly, you can see the amendments part, debit note parts, all that part. You can see it here. So in the IMS dashboard, you can take action on the multiple invoices based on certain criteria, based on certain filters they have provided. You can either filter based upon the supplier, either by GSTN, trade name, invoice number, or the invoice type. Based on this, you can filter it and take the action, single time action on the multiple invoices. So you can see here, after taking the action, you have to save. Then only it will get changed in your draft GSTR 2B. So you can see here, if you want to search any particular supplier by the GSTN or invoice type, status, source mean that whether invoice or the manual save. So if you want to reset any of the action, or if you want to reset all the action what you have taken, you have to check all the invoices and click on reset button. Then what are all the actions you have taken on invoices, all that will get reset. So compute, yes, flow of records, how the flow, we'll see how the records will flow. So all the accepted, deemed accepted, rejected will move out of your dashboard. So IMS is not a not like a GSTR 1 or GSTR 3B. I mean, the monthly statements. It is a continuous statement like your stock. I can you can we can view it as an inventory register or a stock register. How the stock register works? There is an opening balance and current period items will be there, and there will be a closing balance. The similar way IMS will also works. It is not a static report. So if you have accept all, what are all the invoices lies in your IMS? Only the pending invoices and the current period invoices will be there in your IMS portal, and all the accepted, deemed accepted, that whatever the invoices you have not taken any action, and the rejected invoice will move out of your dashboard. I mean IMS dashboard. So the compute GSTR 2B already we discussed about this. So today in today's session, the focus will be more on how GSTZen can be used to comply with the IMS. So I am not taking much about this theory part. We'll see the FAQs. So based on these FAQs, you will get to know more about the IMS. So sequential generation, unless your previous GSTR 3B is filed, you cannot file. You cannot file the current period. IMS will not be, I mean, GSTR 2B will not be generated. As and when you file your GSTR 3B, to get the GSTR 2B regenerated, you have to click on the compute GSTR 2B. Then only your 2B will get generated. Yes. Reset of record by the supplier. This already we discussed reset. So what are all the documents will not be available in IMS but will be part of GSTR 2B. So once again, we'll discuss about this slide. All the RCM records, if my supplier has issued any invoice with RCM as S, in that case, it will not pass through the IMS. It will go directly to the GSTR 2B. Time barred ITC, this already we discussed. That is 30th November. All that thing we discussed. Ineligible ITC, that place of supply rules we have discussed, that hotel accommodation, and ISGate document. That means in case of bill of entries, it will be directly go to my 2B. It will not, we no need to take any action in the IMS. All the bill of entries in case of imports will go directly to the 2B. From 2B to 3B, it will get auto-populated. And document flowing from GSTFI, that the non-residential taxable person and input service distributor, that GSTR 6, all those go directly to my GSTR 2B, and you need to take any action. And documents where ITC to be reversed on account of Rule 37. In this case also, I don't need to take any action. It will go directly to my 2B. So whether all invoices Are there any invoices or records where pending action is not allowed in IMS? Yes, there are some sort of invoices where you cannot take, either you have to accept it, reject it. You cannot mark those records as in pending. We'll see what are all those type of invoices where the pending action is not allowed. In case of original credit note, in that case, either you have to accept it, reject it. You cannot mark it as in pending, because if the system allows you to mark it as pending, there is a loss to the revenue, because your supplier is reducing his liability by issuing the credit note, and you are mark it as an pending and not reducing your liability. So there is a huge loss to the revenue. That's the reason they have not given option of marking the original credit note as pending. Similarly, in case of upward amendment of the credit note, it is also a similar type of the credit. I mean, there is an upward amendment of the credit note amount, and similarly downward amendment of the credit note, provided if original credit note was rejected by the recipient. Similar case with the downward amendment of the invoice, where the original invoice note was accepted by the recipient, and respect to GST 3B has also been filed. So if you see all these cases, your supplier is reducing the liability, and here obviously as a recipient you have to reduce your input tax credit, but the system is not allowing to mark it as an pending, because if you postpone it by marking it as an pending, there is a loss to the revenue. That's the reason they have not given option of pending. So if you see here in the portal, there is only two options: either accepted, rejected. This is a credit note module in the IMS. So if you see here, the pending is not allowed. Only you have to accept it, reject it, and there is a no action. This one also. But if you have not taken any action, it deemed to be accepted. So obviously it will be marked as an accepted, and will your ITC will get reduced. But so that way it will works. So we'll see. Yes. So what happened if recipient rejects a record? So let's say I'm a recipient. I have rejected the record before filing. If my recipient rejects a record before filing of GSTR1 by supplier, my supplier has not. Let's say I'm a recipient. My supplier has not filed his GSTR1, but here I have rejected it. So in that case, what I can do? Accidentally I have rejected it, but that's a correct invoice. I supposed to accept it, but I have accidentally rejected it. What in that case? What I can do? So I can ask my supplier to edit it, and supplier can file GSTR1 with the correct period. Either I ask because I have rejected it before my supplier has filed his GSTR1. In that case, either I can ask him to re-upload that invoice or edit it. If any edit is done by my supplier, in that case, again it will come to my IMS. Again, I can take an action in my IMS dashboard. So what if if I reject it after GSTR1 is filed by my supplier? In that case, supplier can amend invoice by using the GSTR1A, or in that case, if he amended by using the GSTR1A, again it will reflect in my IMS dashboard. I can take an action on that. So if you see here, amended record will be available in the IMS for action by the recipient. There I can act upon that. So what if the rejection was marked erroneously? How to bring it back to 2B and then to 3B? So accidentally I have marked it as an rejected. So obviously it will move out of my IMS, and it will not part of my 2B, and in the 3B also it will be not populated. So what I have to do in this case, I have to contact my supplier to correct the mistake. What supplier can do? Supplier can fix it by amending or reissuing the invoice. In that case, again it will come to my IMS. I can take the action on that. I can accept that invoice. So what about the GST 2B for quarterly taxpayers? how the GST 2B is getting populated for the quarterly taxpayer the same way 2B, that is after quarter plus one, Q plus 1 month. After ending of the quarter, 14th of the ending subsequent quarter, 2B will get generated. The same way it will be generated. There is no change in it. So we'll see some other FAQs. How many times I can regenerate the GST to be? That is, how many times I can click the recompute to be. There is no limit. You can as many times you can recompute your GST to be, but subject to before filing your GST 3B. What will happen to GST 2A? There is no change in GST 2A. How GST 2A is populating now the same way. There is no change in GST to your population. Is there any mandatory to recompute GST to be? Obviously, there is no mandatory thing, but if you have taken any action post your generation of GST to be, that is after 14th of generation of to be, if you want to get reflect the updated things in your GST to be, in that case, you have to click on the recompute to be. Can the supplier amend forward charge invoice to RCM invoice, and what will impact on the invoice? In case any invoice is amended from forward charge to RCM, again it will move out of my IMS. It will go directly and sit in my GST to be in the reverse charge bucket. So whether liability can be added in the same GST 3B in case where credit note has been rejected, this already we discussed. In case of rejection of credit note by the recipient, it will be added to the liability of the supplier in the subsequent month, not in the same month, because in 3B, if both the supplier and recipient, the due date for filing 3B is the 20th. So if both parties filed on the same day, it cannot be possible for the system to add liability to the supplier in the same period. That's the reason they have fixed the defer the liability to the subsequent period. So hard locking. So now we will take up some questions. Before taking up questions, our tech team will take you through the GSTZen portal, how GSTZen can be used to streamline the IMS process, invoice management process. So Manisha, can you take you through the GSTZen, how IMS can be?
Sure, sir.
Yes.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, please.
Hello, good evening, everybody. So this is Manisha from GSTZen. I'll walk you through that how you can use IMS dashboard through GSTZen to streamline all your invoices process. So once you log in with GSTZen, this will be the dashboard. So where you will see all the GST numbers that you have already added. From here itself, you can check the status whether the GSTR1 is filed or not filed. Similarly for 3B9, you can just apply the filter and see what all returns you have already filed or which you are yet to file. There are other more tabs. Using this add new GSTN, you can add more GSTN in your dashboard to use the GSTZen for multiple functionalities. Here we have manage multiple GSTN, using which you can upload the data at the PAN level, even for purchase or as well as for sales. In the autopilot feature, you can perform downloading the data from the portal or from GSTZen and performing other functions for multiple GST numbers in one go. In this notice management, you can sync the data from the portal, you can draft the responses and keep them in the record using this notice option. So I'll be using one of the GST numbers to show you that how you can access to this IMS dashboard. Let me quickly choose one of the GST number. So once you select any of the GST number, it will redirect you to the next screen where you will get options like download a report, reconcile, books versus government portal, and file GST return. Under this download a report, you can download a monthly as well as yearly consolidated report. Under this comparison report, you can have a consolidated report. You can have a comparison between GSTR1, 2A, 2B, 3B. You can have your GSTR1 monthly report as well as yearly report. Similarly, you can have it for 2A, 2B, 3B. You can have electronic ledger report, 6-month e-way bill report, compliance report, and all these reports are available. Under this reconcile books versus government portal, you can reconcile your books data with like the purchase register with your GSTR 2A, 2B, your sales register with your GSTR1 data before filing the GSTR1. Under this GST return option, you can file your GSTR1 to 1A, 3B, 9, and 9C. That means your monthly as well as your annual returns through GSTZen. On the right hand side of the screen, you will find this IMS dashboard. So I'll be just clicking on it. So here, to access this IMS dashboard, you need to log in with the OTP. Here, you will provide the portal username and request for OTP. You will receive the OTP on your registered phone number or your email ID. So as I have logged in, here at the top left, we have 3 tabs, that is summary, update action, and tutorials. So whosoever is new to our platform, for their convenience and to guide them, we have one tutorial page where all the steps are elaboratively explained, referring to what you can use the IMS dashboard very smoothly. So the first one is that you will be uploading your purchase register. It is not a necessary step. Like if you want to just perform the IMS actions, you are not required to upload any purchase register. You can directly fetch the data and perform the actions. If you want to do the reconciliation also with your own purchase register, of course, you need to upload the data. So here, using that tab, I will be uploading one of the purchase register. So here we have 2 formats. Although for everybody's convenience, we have given 2 samples here, but it's not necessary to use our template. You can use your own Excels in whatever format you're maintaining. So it will take the time depending upon the records you are uploading into the system. The file which I am uploading is having almost like 400 records. So here, as I mentioned, it's not mandatory to use our template. You can use all your own templates as well. So here it will show you all the columns of your template at the top, and this screen will help the software to pick the information from your template into the GSTZen. So here you will do the mapping. So here, so this is a star, like this is a mandatory column which you are required to provide. So in the drop down, you will see all the columns of your template. You just have to simply select the column from where the software should pick the information. And it's not necessary to do this mapping every time. If you are going to use the same template, like your own template, same template every time, you just have to map it once, and from next time onwards, you can just take a look whether all the columns are mapped correctly, and you can just process file upload. So the file is uploading. Again, it will take the time depending upon the records you have in your Excel. So here I have uploaded almost like 401 documents. Now, if I can see a small summary here, you can quickly check the numbers, whether they are correct or not, and confirm and save the entries. Once you confirm it, it will ask to re-upload it. So confirm and save the entries. Once you do that, it will save all the data in your GSTZen account under the purchase register. Now, the second step is refresh your IMS invoices. That means fetching the fresh data from the portal. So either you can click here or you can click here as well to fetch the data from the portal. So again, fetching of fresh data from the portal depends upon the number of transactions you have. Yeah. So it will fetch all the data, whether it's B2B, whether it's credit note, debit note, whether any of the amended credit note, whether is there any e-commerce data or e-commerce amendment in transaction is there. So it will fetch all these transactions in one go just with one single click. So, and you will get all the notification pop-ups on your screen on the right hand side, on the left hand side, sorry. Once all the data is fetched, the next step is to run the matcher. So this matcher facilitates the matching of invoices, whatever data you have fetched from the portal and whatever you have uploaded as your purchase register. So this matcher facilitates matching of those invoices, considering the supplier detail, the invoice number, the amounts, everything, all these parameters are taken into consideration uh, once you run this matcher. So while running the matcher, here you have two parameters which you are supposed to give, that is maximum days difference and maximum tax amount difference. So I'll just quickly run the matcher. Here it will give you another pop-up that reconciliation started. Once this reconciliation will complete, the next step is that you can perform your actions. Like if you want to put it as accept, reject, or pending, you have two ways to do it. Either you do it directly into GSTZen dashboard, or in case where some of the transactions are there only in portal. Okay, in that case, you can download an Excel also to understand where the issue is, like why the invoices are not present in your books of accounts, like the purchase register, and also you can perform the actions directly into the Excel also. So as it shows my intelligent matching is complete, I will move to the next screen, that is the summary here. It will show me a chart sort of thing, like what all invoices are there under no action, what all I have accepted, pending. So you can have a like quick glimpse under the summary page. Next is this update actions. Update actions will show you all your transactions, whatever you have fetched from the portal, whether they are matched or unmatched. It will give you all such details. Second, I think the page is loading. Yeah. Let me just quickly go back to the assignments page. Yeah, I was talking about this update action. So here you will get all the transaction details. So here you can apply the filter if you want to check the status for a particular invoice number or details of the particular seller. The transaction belongs to the particular seller. Similarly, if I want to check only the matched invoices, I can just quickly apply the filter here and see this exact match status is coming from the run matchup, what we ran in the third step. So this is how it looks. And also when I fetch the data, it was giving me as accepted. And also I have not changed any of the action. That's why it is giving me the correct status as accepted only. Now, if I want to check only those invoices which are partially matched, you can check the reason here why they are partially matched. And let's suppose I want to accept these two. I will mark these two, and here we have an option, set accept. So it will just accept those invoices. And here I can see, because I have put it as accepted, the portal action is still no action, but my current status in IMS dashboard in GSTZen is accepted. Once I click on the Save Changes tab, these changes whatever I have accepted, pending or reject, it will save to the portal also by clicking on just a single tab. And once you click on it, the summary will automatically update here. uh, as I mentioned you that you have two options. Either you do it directly into the GSTZen dashboard, or you can download an Excel. So I'll just quickly download one Excel to show you that how it works. So this Excel, whatever you download is micro enable. You have to unblock the macros. So this is in books versus IMS report, what I have extracted. So this is an about sheet, will give you time and date when you have extracted it. Now this is the main screen, main sheet where you will do all your like all your workings. So here in this sheet, you will get the document type. Under one sheet only, you will get all the details, whether it's invoice or credit note or any amended invoice. You can find the detail under this document type. You can also check for supplier GST and as books as portal. You can check for other filters, whether like for which particular month this transaction is included, whether the supplier has filed the return or not, because there is a thing that IMS is a real time basis. If the if the seller has uploaded one invoice, has not filed the return, so you might need the status for the same. It is giving the supplier filing status here. Next, you can also compare the amounts as per books and as per portal. Here, it is separately giving you the portal actions, whether on the portal the current status is accepted, not accepted, or no action is taken. Here in the match type, you can figure it out whether the invoice is present only in books or only in IMS, whether there is an exact match, or if they are not matched, then what is the reason of it. So it you can just simply apply the filter and check for multiple things. So here we have the next column, that is this GSTZen IMS action. So this is the column where you will do all your working. You will take all the actions, whether you want to accept it, reject it, or you want to keep it as pending. So here, yeah, you just have to click on the drop down and like and perform the actions. Okay, so let's suppose I have taken these two actions, and whatever actions you will take in this in this sheet, it will save into GSTZen, as the new tab is there in this Excel, that is GSTZen. So it will automatically save into GSTZen database, and from there you will push these actions to the government portal. For to save these actions into GSTZen, you need to log in with your GSTZen accounts. I will do the same. Once it gives me that I have successfully logged in, I will click on this invoice upload tab. And once I click on it, it will give us the status that the action is performing whatever data I want to save into GSTZen database from this Excel sheet. All my actions, it will take 2 to 5 minutes maximum to save it. Once this is done, you can just go back to your GSTZen dashboard and click on the Save Changes tab. It will show you that what all changes I have done. It will give you a quick summary here. Once you confirm it, it will take a couple of minutes depending upon the records to save the data on the portal. As you perform all these IMS dashboard actions, it will go to your electronic credit ledger for the purpose of your GSTR 2B. Once you save the actions, save the changes to the portal, it will automatically update the summary here. And also you can just click on any of these particular numbers to work directly on these B2B credit notes. But of course, for B2B credit notes, yeah, the data is still updating. Like it will update all the data for all type of transactions. Okay, it's still updating. So here, as the data is updating and it is fetching the real-time summary, you can see that this accepted from 408 is changed to 409. Yeah. So you can just simply click on the numbers and the type of the document you want to work it out. And for this B2B credit notes, you have an option only either you can accept it or reject it. There is no option available for pending, as also explained by Jagdish sir during his explanation. So this is how, with this simple steps and with few clicks, you can perform this IMS actions smoothly. So this is the entire flow of IMS through GSTZen dashboard. Now I just want to quickly talk little about the IMS APIs. We have recently introduced this IMS APIs, which you can use and integrate in your on your ERPs, to streamline this process and do perform all the actions directly from your ERPs. So these are the quick steps which are there under this API docs. You can just go through it, and if you need more information about it, of course, you can reach out to GSTZen support. That's it from my side. Over to Jagdish sir.
Yes. Uh, um, so I'm taking some questions. So, so Sanjeev has asked, what about bill of entries not reflecting in 2B? Um, yes, even now some of the bill of entries are not reflecting in 2B. Mainly if any SEZ bill of entries are still not reflecting, there is an issue with the SEZ online. So for that 16, if you see the section 16, there is a requirement to reflect in GST to be only for the invoice and the debit note, not for the bill of entry copy. So if you are having the bill of entry copy, so you can take the ITC based on BE copy. There is no requirement of reflecting in GST to be. Okay. Anyway, this is not related to the IMS, but as a generic, he has asked the question. So there is one more. Yes, for most of the question, Akila has answered. If I missed any question, you can you can ask the questions. Sir, if 3B got hot luck, then how to take? Just a second. If GSI 3B got hot luck, how to take a bill of entry copies? Anyway, bill of entries will not pass through the IMS. They will go directly to the GST 2B. Hope you got the answer for this. Any more questions? please put some light on how to add in IMS. Sorry, I didn't get you how to add in IMS. So on what you are asking, the bill of entries, or Sanjeev has asked how to add in IMS. And I didn't get your question. So any questions on tech part, how to do reconciliation, invoice matching, and how to accept using GSTZen? If we have any questions on that, Manisha will answer all those questions. So I think there are no more questions. So we can wind up now. Manisha, if you want to add anything, you can add it. Can you please share the contact details of GSTZen so that if they have any doubt, they can reach us. So if you have any questions, you can reach us at support@gstgen.in. The session PPT will share to all the participants for this webinar. Yes. If you want to reach us, you can reach us in the digital support@gstgen.in.
Yes, sir. I think we can end this webinar.
Yes,
I
yes.
thank Jagdish sir and Manisha for making this webinar successful. And I also thank all the attendees who have participated in this webinar. We'll be sharing the recorded session of this webinar along with the PPT to your respected email IDs. And we have also shared our contact details and email ID on the chat over here. So you can feel free to reach out to us. Thank you all.